Welcome back to Georgia Virtual School. In this video tutorial, we're going to take a look at the module Introduction to the World Wide Web. So in order to get started with your module content, you need to go to Canvas. You need to select the Modules tab and then click on the name of the module that you are trying to review. So remember, this serves as like your online textbook. So this is the material that you want to read so that you can complete your discussions and your assignments and your projects. Once you click on the module, you're going to first start with the module overview. So each module has an overview and then it has lessons. In between your lessons, that's when you'll see your discussions and your assignments and your projects, okay? That's important to know. So start with the overview and then move on to the next lesson and so forth and so on. Don't forget about your key terms. These are important. You may see these terms again when you take your quiz at the end of each module. So for this module, we have search engine, Web 2.0 tools, web pages, website, World Wide Web, and URL. So I want you to be familiar with these terms. Make sure you can use them in a sentence. That's always a good idea. And if you still don't understand the term by reading the definition, you can do your own research, but you need to be familiar with each term. So let's talk about the first assignment, which is web market research. This assignment requires you to create a table. So if you are not familiar with creating a table on a document, I give you some tips over here on this side. So if you're in Microsoft Word, and remember, if you're a Georgia Virtual student, you have access to Microsoft products for free. Okay, so that's Word, PowerPoint, Excel, and so forth. But when you go to Microsoft Word, you're going to select the Insert tab, and then you're going to select Tables, and you're able to create a table with however many columns and rows that you need. My advice to you is to make sure that you place your document in landscape instead of portrait, and that's just going to give you more space horizontally versus vertically. Step 1 tells you to create your table. It tells you to add the top 6 search engines, and also you're going to include the bold categories listed below. Now, over here for tips, I recommend that you put your 6 search engine topics across the top and let that be your columns, and then place your 10 bold categories along the left side and let that be your rows. And then of course, whenever you type your information, your answers in each cell, you want to decrease the font size so that everything fits perfectly and nicely and looks good. But for this assignment, you're essentially just going to answer each one of these bulleted points here. For example, what is the search engine's URL? So inside your table for each one of the 6 search engines, you'll copy and paste the URL into the box for each one, all the way across. Or yeah, all the way across, I should say, from left to right. All right, and then you'll go to the next item. Remember on this one where it says copy and paste the search engine's logo, remember anytime that you're dealing with images, you are probably going to need to use what's called text wrapping or wrap text in order to get your images to move on the page. So definitely research that, YouTube it, Google it. Wrap text is the topic that you need to know about when you're dealing with images. And then you'll just move through and do each one of these bullets. And then don't forget, underneath your table, you're going to answer the 2 questions here. Which search engine would you prefer, and tell me why? And then also, when comparing each search engine, did you see any trends? And make sure you explain your answer in detail. Okay. If you have questions about this project, please make sure that you reach out to me. But if you just don't know how to make a table, you can always YouTube how to make a table. It's very simple, and I think you'll be okay. Let's move on to the next assignment, excuse me, which is going to be the mobile technology discussion. So remember, anytime you are completing a discussion, just remember that you not only have to respond to the original post, but you also have to respond to 2 classmates. All right. And just like I talk about in my live sessions, make sure you add a resource every time you're responding to your 2 classmates. A resource can be an image, a YouTube video, a link to a website, right? An infographic. Just make sure that the resource gives us more information about the topic. Make sure we're learning more about the topic. This discussion talks about technology and how we communicate. It says, how many times today has someone communicated to you by phone? Was it through text, or did you actually pick up the phone and say hello? So, do you believe texting has changed the way we communicate? If so, you want to explain, how. Has the impact of texting stifled or damaged the way people communicate? Or has texting revolutionized the way we communicate? If so, explain, right? Do you believe the impact of texting has more of a positive effect than a negative effect? And of course, these are all your own opinions. What do you think? Or research it. Tell us what research says, and then give us your opinion. Just make sure that you give me a minimum of 5 sentences when you're responding to this post. And then when you're responding to your 2 classmates, it's always 3 to 4 complete sentences, good sentences, quality sentences. And then don't forget to add that resource, okay? Let's move on to the next assignment, which is a project. It's called the Web 2.0 Tools Project. I absolutely love this one because I like to, explore different tools. And so I like that you guys have to research 10 Web 2.0 tools, which is what you're doing in this assignment. So it says in this lesson, we're going to introduce you to these different Web 2.0 tools. And you have to create either a presentation. So that's PowerPoint or Canva slides, or if you're on a Mac, what is that? I think that's Keynote. But create a presentation, or you can use a Web 2.0 tool of your choice to present your 10 tools that you're going to be talking about. So it's up to you. Most people use a presentation software. So they'll use Google Slides or, PowerPoint, and then they just talk about each tool on a slide, and that's okay. Just make sure you use the slide design, make sure it's creative, make sure you put the logo on there, and include the things that I'm asking you to include. So there should be a link to the website or the Web 2.0 tool. You should tell me how much the tool costs. Now, don't just say it's free, because typically there's a free version and a paid version. So you can say that it's free, but then also tell us how much the paid versions are. And then you can give us a description of each tool. And you may even want to tell us what's the difference in the free version versus the paid version. Okay? So that's how that works. And remember, throughout the module, you're going to see a list of Web 2.0 tools, or you can Google some other Web 2.0 tools as well. Okay, so that's going to be up to you. Let's move on to the next one. Not sure why I keep clicking on the wrong thing, but we're going to get it together. All right, so quizzes. Don't forget, Introduction to World Wide Web. There's a quiz at the end of the module. The quizzes are 10 multiple choice questions, and you get 35 minutes to complete the quiz. Make sure you prepare for the quiz. That means look over your notes, look over the module content that you've been reading. Go back and look at the different presentations that are throughout the module. Whatever you need to do, go back and look at the key terms, right? Just prepare yourself for the quiz. All right. Make sure you set aside enough time to complete the quiz. You don't want to start and stop. You cannot do that. That's very important to know. Let's talk about the Capstone Project. So this is a continuous project that goes from the beginning of the semester to the end, and you have different parts, part 1, part 2, part 3, depending on what course you're in. That depends on how many parts you get to see. But for this particular part 1, it tells you that you're going to choose one of the topics below, and here are the list of topics. I would say make sure you choose a topic that you are truly interested in, because this capstone project is continuous. So it builds. You're going to have to do more with the topics. So choose one that interests you. And the requirement is to submit an image file. So that's going to be either a JPEG or PNG picture or image file. So when you create your project, you want to create it. You can create it in different Web 2.0 tools. You can even create it in Google Slides. You just have to make sure that you download the final finished product as an image file. If you don't know how to convert or do that, you might want to YouTube it or Google it. But it says using the Web 2.0 tool of your choice, you want to convert your project into a picture. Again, it's telling you that you can use PowerPoint and then convert that slide to a JPEG or PNG. Just introduce the topic that you've chosen that you would like to research. Design your picture in a creative way using background colors, graphics, and designs. So you're basically going to tell us the topic, make sure it looks good, make sure you're creative, use some colors, use some graphics related to the topic, and just make it look good, right? So very simple image file is what you're going to turn in. Don't forget about your rubrics. You're going to see rubrics throughout the modules. Pay attention to them. Try to make sure you're getting exceeds on everything so that you can score 100%. Of course, anytime you get points deducted, that affects your average. So we want to keep those averages up. And lastly, don't forget about your course checklists. So there's a checklist for every single course. Doesn't matter which course you're taking from me. But what you want to do is when you go into Canvas and select the home page, you're going to see class resources. And then you'll see your course assignments checklist. So you'll just click the link and it'll open you up to a Google Doc that looks like this. And this is important to print out because you're able to see the required assignments. You're able to write in your due date for each assignment and the date that you actually completed, just to kind of verify and make sure you're doing everything. If assignments are not required for your particular course, then you're going to see a list of those assignments on the right hand side, and that just means you don't have to do them. Okay, so the ones that say omit, reduce schedule, you do not have to complete them. And that is all. Those are all of the assignments for this particular module. Hopefully this helped. If you still have questions, please reach out to me via text, via email, via inbox, however you need to, and I will definitely make sure that I assist. Okay, I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.